Hey, what's going on? X's and O's with Mike Zimmer is on the air, courtesy of the KFAN Minnesota Vikings radio network. Minnesota Vikings have won 4 consecutive, take on the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend. And now we're happy to be joined, as we are weekly, by Minnesota Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer. You beat Washington on Thursday, and you have Kansas City in a few days. So did you get any decompression time at Zimmer Ridge Ranch?
Spent a little bit of time, yes. Had some nice fires.
Wow.
Got in the hunting blind a little bit.
Yeah.
It was good.
Were you able to decompress?
Yeah, it was good.
Now, when you head to Zimmer Ridge Ranch or wherever and you get a little decompression time, did you perchance draw up any cool defensive plays, like any new plays on cocktail napkins or whatever?
Well, really what I did was look at some of the things that we were doing and trying to figure out if there's a better way than we're doing them right now, and if there's some other areas that we can improve on.
So it's also kind of a little mini self-scouting time, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, what do you overall through 8? How do you feel about the defense?
For the most part, we've played pretty well. There's obviously some areas we need to improve on, and each week all these offenses are trying to attack you in different ways, and so they'll find a snag here or there, and then you have to put that fire out. But overall, I like the attitude of them, the way they're playing. In a lot of the situational football things, we're playing really well.
What about the overall team? I mean, you have a first-year offensive coordinator. A lot of the staff there is new, a rookie center, new left guard, new right guard, the whole thing. 6-2, you won 4 in a row. The running game obviously is upper echelon in the NFL. Quarterback's been playing really well. Overall, just the overall team, including special teams, how do you feel?
Well, I think it's good. I think we're maybe the only team in the NFL that is in the top 5 in both offense and defense. We're pretty healthy at this point in time. We have a chance to play a lot of contenders here in the next 8 weeks, and so I think that'll go a long way to proving where we are.
With special teams, is it possible to change a lot season to season? What I'm getting at is you can have a West Coast offense, power running, vertical passing game, 3-4 defense, 4-3 defense, but with special teams, can things potentially change a lot season to season, coordinator to coordinator?
Oh yeah, quite a bit. You have the whole off season to work on those things, training camp. So yeah, you have a chance to really do a lot of different things.
With the first 8 games of the season with corner Xavier Rhodes into the final 8 with a little decompression time, what do you expect from Rhodes, not only beginning against Kansas City but the rest of the way?
Well, I think he'll play well. Like last week there was they threw a deep in cut on him, which he should have had help by the safety. They threw a stop fade for 5 yards, another one for 5 yards, and he missed a tackle on a slant that he had covered. So, I'm not all panic about it. There's a few things he needs to work on with his technique, which we're already started with some of that stuff. And so, I feel good about it.
Rhodes has been such a high-ender all of his career. I mean, put him on guys, and that's it. That's out. They're done. Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones, whomever. So if things happen around Xavier that maybe he doesn't want to or he thinks he could do better, how prideful is he in stuff like that with wanting to get markedly better?
Oh, he's very prideful. He came in. We talked this past week. Talked a lot about really where he's at, what he needs to continue to do, and I told him, I said, you know what, I thought your technique was excellent last week. There was a couple transition things that we need to work on, and maybe add a couple change-ups for him.
Now, corner Holton Hill is eligible to return. What will you look for him from him in this week of practice?
Well, we have to see where he's at, athletically and understanding the defense and everything. He hasn't been out there, so 8 weeks of off time is a long time to come out here and line up against these NFL wide receivers.
Do defensive fronts, specifically like Chicago, which can be high end, and or Washington with like Matt Ioannidis and all those guys, do they at times give your facets of your offensive line trouble, and is that something that you got to work around?
Well, yeah, I mean, every defense is going to give you some kind of trouble. You know, they're going to always try and take away something that you do really well. I think, lining up over the guards, that's what a lot of teams have been trying to do to us, but we've had good success against that. But the more that you can add that along with the play action pass and then start spreading them out, it really helps to get them out of a lot of those defenses.
Mike, would you define Zimmer ball, running it 18 times, the final 8.5 minutes of a game, to seal a game, like you did against Washington? I mean, they know the run's coming. You did it 18 times in a row for 8.5 minutes and won the game.
Yeah, well, that was really nice. But quite honestly, the thing that I like about it is being able to control the game. We get in situations where we can run the football and control a game, play good defense, control a game, make them start to do things that is unnatural for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what they did the other night. They're trying to make plays, trying to get the run stopped, and they're giving up big gashes in the running game. So I think that part of it is just being able to show your dominance in those areas.
Now, the back to that Friday press conference following the Thursday victory, and you know 1,000 times more about football than I'll ever know, but I must concede, I was surprised when you said the fourth down call, the one that you didn't get on the sneak back at the -42, was the, quote, worst call you've ever made in your career. And it's not like I'm going to lay out what bad calls were, but I mean, now several days removed from that, I was just surprised that you looked at it that way. Why did you?
Well, it's a 7-point game. We've got the game fairly under control. Our ball's on our 35-yard line, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we need to put this team away. And it didn't work out. So, I feel like, we always want to be aggressive and we want to do things to be aggressive, but I don't think that was the situation to do that for. Luckily, the defense bailed me out.
Right, yeah. I mean, you are an aggressive coach. It's the way you coach. That's why at the time I loved it. Hal Zerv-Smith Jr. coming along and is adapting to the NFL at times tough for guys that young.
Well, yeah, I mean, each player's different in how they adapt to the NFL and how fast they can catch on to the speed of the game, the different things that are going on as far as motions and shifts and alignments on defense and things like that. But Irv's done a nice job. He's come in every week, has been a factor in the ball game, making nice catches, being able to line him up in a lot of different spots. I think that's been good for us. And then been pretty decent in blocking. He's got to do a little bit better job on the backside of some of the runs, but other than that, he's doing a nice job.
How do you plan, or what are the roots of planning for Kansas City when not knowing if so many of their best players are going to play?
Yeah, well, you always prepare for the best, and then you have a backup plan for if they don't play. But Mahomes is an outstanding football player. He obviously is going to be different than Matt Moore. Chris Jones is a great football player. Frank Clark is a heck of a football player. So there's a lot of guys that are a little bit unknown that we'll know a little bit more about next week. But we can't take anything for granted. We got to go out there, and they're a good football team. They got a lot of speed offensively, especially. They really can run. Defensively, they're a big attack style defense with a lot of different kind of pressures, mostly zone pressures, but all kinds of pressures with Steve Spagnuolo. And we're going to have to go out there and play really well to win. Where
does Tyreek Hill put significant stress on defenses?
Well, there's so many different things. Probably more so when he gets in the slot or some of the reverses that he runs. But they've got a track team over there. They got a lot of guys that are really fast. This Hardman is extremely explosive, especially when he gets in the middle of the field. And they're number one in the league in run after catch. So we're going to have to be on point.
Thanks for the chat. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Mike Zimmer, X's and O's with Mike Zimmer continues shortly on the KFAN Minnesota Vikings Radio Network.